Hello there. We're here to tell you that we have so much more to offer you now at our Mixed Tees store. Not just t-shirts and hoodies, but we do have plenty of those, and new designs for that matter. You can also get mugs, and of course our brand new limited Amber Turds stained blanket. That's right, just for your bed or wherever you need it. So head on over to Mixed Tees now and get all your apparel and goodies from Midnight's Edge.
Entertainment news today. You're such a dragon gay. Everything sucks and it's no good. That comes out of Hollywood. But there's one place you can go to get all your news and info, and maybe even have a laugh or two. You know it's true. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We'll stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark. But MEAD never stops. We will keep going through the night as we keep up the culture fight. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark.
It's Tuesday. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever it is, where you is. Welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark, your favorite show on the internet, whether you like it or not. We have a hell of a show for you today. In fact, I'm going to start it off with the announcement that everybody's been waiting for. That's right. Nick and I are getting married because we're so... Yay. That's right.
Tom, you weren't supposed to tell anyone that yet. I was trying to wait off a little bit. You can't just spoil people like that.
Well, our civil union, I think, is going to take place sometime in the summer. We want a summer wedding, you know.
Better be on a Thursday. Having lots of pizza.
Pizza. In fact, I know how we're going to... Oh, you have no idea what I got planned for pizza. This is going to be the most pizza-ist wedding ever. In fact, we got Lego pizza. Here, look at this. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Oh, come on. Look at this. It's like a pizza making machine. Look at that.
Oh, I've seen that. It's nice. This is great. I've seen this.
I was supposed to show you this. I think it was like Action Comics sent it.
Someone sent me this on Wick.
On Twigs?
Yeah.
Lots of work. Jesus.
But it's cool.
Wow. See, then we don't ever have to cook pizza again.
Oh, okay.
It'll do it for us while we can,
Okay. Let's tie the knot now on MEAD.
It didn't look that great. I prefer that there'll be like some like older Italian guy flipping stuff in the air and throwing it in the oven.
Swearing at his workers. Yeah, I prefer that too.
And I can't imagine it's going to taste or be too healthy for you being cooked in and around heat-rated plastics.
Well, have you used the Pizzazz? Pizzazz actually can use out in the open, and it cooks pizza perfectly. Look up some Pizzazz.
That spins around.
Yeah, it's amazing. I used
never
to own
thought
one.
Those things could work.
Oh, dude, it works. I used to bring it with me everywhere. Like when there was like a PS3 midnight release, I brought that with me. Dude, it was great. Like midnight releases for things, I bring that with so we could cook like frozen pizzas in like the back of the van. It was great. It was such a good time.
I never tried one because I always thought they probably wouldn't work. But anyhow, no, obviously April Fools. We got Nick here tonight. How you doing, Nick? All 32 flavors of you.
I'd be doing pretty good, despite polarizing movie titles based off of shit that I absolutely despise. Luckily, I watched a cool movie to balance out that BS. So
You did.
So I'm ready to balance that out with all the BS that we got to talk about today. But yeah,
I saw
happy. What?
I saw another cool movie last night that everybody was kind of shitting on for the longest time.
Which one?
That Flight Risk movie with Marky Mark, directed by Mel Gibson.
Oh yeah,
Found it rather entertaining, and it's like 90 minutes. You're in and out.
Ooh.
Quick, simple, not woke. Like, the chick in it is not a girl boss, and she gets her ass handed to her constantly. Like, and she fucks up constantly. It was pretty good, and Topher Grace is in it too.
Wow, Eric Foreman's back. He's on his redemption arc after Venom.
Did you see that one in the theater? I can't remember, Price. And hello, Price.
No, I didn't see it. It's one of the only ones recently that I haven't seen. I wanted to, but I think that I was just busy that weekend and I couldn't get to it.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. Yeah, no, I didn't. It's not obviously not one of Mel Gibson's Oscar caliber films, and I think he clearly did it as a pay for hire just so he could get the money to bankroll The Passion of the Christ 2.
For sure, I'm sure.
But it was fun. It was just kind of fun, you know. You just kind of chill out and have fun with a popcorn film. But we have Mo Zamboni here who talks about those kind of movies every Monday with Jay over on Drunk 3PO's channel. How you doing? And welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. We're glad to have you here proper.
Oh, thank you for having me. Yeah, doing well. I've really been enjoying watching all these classic movies. We watched War Games recently because at the beginning of my streaming career, we were watching Acolyte, we were watching Rings of Power, and it was honestly hell. So it's nice to kind of go back.
Isn't it?
It really is anger inducing. So to watch the masters do it right is quite nice. So
funny how, like a clown, like I make you laugh.
No,
you tell me how funny I am. How am I fucking funny?
You know, you like fun. You tell good jokes.
What, I'm funny to you? I look like a clown?
Dude. Yeah. I'm uncomfortable listening to that right now.
I got you. I fucking got you. You were shaking. I love that movie. Have you guys talked about Goodfellas yet over there on Jay's?
No, I would love to. I watched that movie so much, dude.
It's one of my favorites.
The Morty's wig commercial. The wig commercials in there are so wonderfully funny.
Morty.
Where he jumps into the pool and he's like, it never doesn't come off, you know.
Oh man, it's a great fucking movie. So yeah, speaking of movies, it's CinemaCon right now, so there's all sorts of movie news dropping. So we actually have some things to talk about. We even got a trailer for Karate Kid Legends, so we're gonna check that out too. And yes, we're gonna talk about Spider-Man, just like Nick brought up, and of course FKHC 2005, almost like clockwork or however you want to put it. Always sends in a little love for Clobber in Times. Thank you so much for the support. We appreciate it. And then we got Infinite Wanderer who sends in 5 and says, any of you remember the live action One Piece? Yes, I do. Showrunner quit during the post-filming phase of season 2. Sounds like Netflix is pulling something. I heard about this. Look at Nick. He looks like he's ready for a concert.
Nice.
The only thing you're missing is some zinc oxide on your nose if you're going to an outside concert. Because you're hitting that age where you can use it now. You know that, right? And you can wear cargo shorts.
Oh, God. Cargo
yes.
shorts. No.
Did you see that video on X of the guy who came into his baby's birth dressed as an old dad? And the wife just lost it. She's like, you cannot.
I did not see
a fanny pack and everything. Like, it was hilarious.
I gotta see that.
He was all ready to be a dad. Just ready.
That's amazing. No, I still go out. Like, I still have black. I'm like, right now, I'm all in black outside of my shades. Like, I have my black jeans, skinny jeans, and I have my shirt, and I have glasses, and I have a black hat that I'm going to wear later. So, I still dress like I'm 16, except I'm a dad. So it's always like confusing. Like, you know, when my kids' friends are like, "Oh, that's your dad." I remember one kid's like, "He doesn't look like a dad."
You're very youthful too. That doesn't help, right? Or at least you're fortunate enough, because I mean, I've met you in person, and you do. You don't look like you're over the age of 20. Like you're just a very youthful man, and you're lucky with that.
Yes, I'm very lucky.
Pizza must be the secret.
I'm giving in.
Secret.
I have a vast closet of basketball shorts and socks that I wear with my sandals. I'm starting to give in. Yes, sweatpants are good. Sweatpants. I have many. I heard they're not called pajamas, like lounge pants. I guess the fancy people call it.
Yeah, I don't wear those out yet. I'm not.
I wear them outside the house. I don't care. So.
No one needs that. No. I think you should at least put real pants on if you're gonna go outside. Yeah, that's just though.
I got that dad flex. What can I say? Yeah. I'm all in.
I have not gone as far as socks in the sandals yet. That is something I have not brought myself to. But yeah, see, the problem with Nick is he looks like your sister's boyfriend, right? Like, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I know exactly what you mean.
Everybody's like, "Oh, hey, he's here!" You know, when he shows up to the
Oh,
and stuff.
Nick's here. He's gonna eat everything. He's
gonna eat everything. But no, as far as Netflix pulling something, yeah, Infinite Wanderer. I heard about this. I don't know the specifics. I guess it was like a mutual thing. I don't know if the individual wanted to move on to other things or if he wasn't seeing eye to eye with Netflix. What I heard, and I don't know how accurate this is, was that they wanted to jump through some storylines and he didn't want to do that. And what's his name? Who actually runs or owns One Piece was sided with Netflix. So yeah, I guess we'll have to see how it turns out. Beat Bop Boop says with £1.99. CinemaCon has been pretty awesome this year. JW5. Yeah, we're going to talk about John Wick 5. Jason Webster says even the trailer for Karate Kids Legends is doing better than Snow White. Everybody is doing better than Snow White. Well, yeah, an AIDS patient is doing better than Snow White. ActionCom sends in 5 and says, Mo Zamboni, hey, this is for you. War Games inspired a genre of smart kid picks. The best one is Manhattan Project with John Lithgow. Check that one out. Oh, yeah, My Science Project. And I mean, kind of Back to the Future almost seems like it kind of came out of that, that kind of type of filmmaker or genre or whatever you want to call it. Dark King.
I like Daryl.
Daryl's another one. Yeah, that's a good one. Dark King sends in 2 Australians. A CinemaCon admitting they're con artists. Oh, pretty much.
Nice.
What's funny is I think it used to be for the theater owners, and then it kind of just opened up for the press and YouTubers and all that business. ActionCom says, Nick, when it comes to the cane, wood or metal? Are you
I am wood.
Or wood one?
I am wood. I use metal.
When you get old and have to have a cane, it'll have a skull on the top of it. I guarantee, or a spider, one of the two, or an 8-ball,
or a pizza, or a turtle.
It might have a turtle shell. Yes, I could see that. Soul Nightmares in the house. And could Brand New Day finally break the curse of Spider-Man's story with Day in the title being dumpster fire and irreparably damaging the brand? Oh, we're gonna get into this because I know Nick had a reaction to this like you wouldn't believe, like an allergic reaction. It was like, oh man. So yeah, we're gonna get into that. Let's get into all this business now that we're caught up with that stuff. Let's start with the Karate Kid trailer. Why not we? Well, let's get depressed.
You want to talk about
I was trying to be...
Oh no! No!
What are we, some kind of Suicide Squad?
We have went 6 movies and a TV series with 6 fucking seasons where nobody has said that term.
This will be the new Suicide Squad. This will be the new Suicide Squad. Like, quote.
This is making my head hurt.
I know.
The worst thing would be if Jackie Chan's like, no, he will not be Karate Kid. We will be legends.
Oh.
It could have been worse, though. I mean, yeah, there's some cheesy things in there, but I was expecting it to be worse.
Who the fuck are you?
Me?
Price. What did you do with Price? Where did he go?
I don't know, man. Like I said,
did you get laid?
All I'm saying is that it could have been worse than this. I didn't see it in I understand that you're upset, but I didn't see it and get completely upset.
I'm confused because usually you're the first guy to go, well, that sucked.
Listen, I like Jackie Chan and I like Ralph Macchio, and I understand this movie isn't going to reinvent any wheels. It's probably going to be dumb, but I feel like it may be just serviceable enough. Like, I don't know for sure, but I'm hoping at least that that'll be the case. I don't want it to be bad.
It looks very safe. I see what you're saying there, but
it'll get like a barely passing grade, but maybe not completely annoy me. That's what I thought when I saw the trailer. I'm hoping at least if it's like a complete fail, I'll be really, really sad because I like this generally.
The only thing I gleaned from the trailer is Ming-Na Wen still looks hot. She looks amazing. I mean, you know, I'm not the youngest.
Well, what's with the branching thing? Like, is he a Miyagi or something? I don't get it. Like, why in the world would they even know each other?
Probably they'll come up with some dumb reason.
Okinawa and Hong Kong aren't known for having the best relations, from what I remember. China and Japan don't quite like each other.
They'll say that there was a competition somewhere. They fought in some. I don't know. They're going to somehow conjure this up, I guess.
I don't know.
The one thing I'll give it is supposedly because like this kid knows kung fu, he's bringing Ralph Macchio for the karate angle. So, I mean, at least they're trying to explain it. It's going to be stupid, but I don't know. Maybe I'd
almost rather not have Ralph Macchio in it and it just be a Karate Kid 2 sequel with Jackie Chan. Honestly,
he was never doing karate to begin with, so the whole thing.
I know, but at this point, like that's the way I feel. Like I'd be like, oh, at least you got rid of Jaden.
Well, they did get rid of Jaden. I don't see him in this.
They did, but I mean, it just to me it feels so. And I've said this before, but like Ralph Macchio didn't do a sequel for years because he always said that he didn't feel like they had the right story and he wasn't gonna just do another Karate Kid just to do another Karate Kid. That's what this feels like.
He's not getting any younger.
They walked in with a huge fucking paycheck and said, "Here you go."
Huge paycheck. He's not getting any younger. They must have offered him big money to do this. And at the same time, even just to like, I'm positive that being in a movie with Jackie Chan means something to Ralph Macchio.
Confused.
I am too, Davina. I'm confused as well.
Oh, that's
good. And Jason Webster points out that Ming-Na Wen has always looked amazing.
I agree.
She looks like her name. I mean, that just sounds like something. Yeah. Anyway, E-Clay says, I think Jackie put pee-pee in our Coke. What the fuck? Oh, shit. And then Lost for Words says, nostalgia bait looks super generic. Yeah, I'm not getting the same vibe I got from Cobra Kai.
See,
it's not going to be as good as Cobra Kai. There's no way.
Outside of Danny LaRusso and his home and Mr. Miyagi, this didn't feel like a nostalgia wave at all. And I didn't get that one bit out of this. This feels like, honestly, it feels like even with those moments today, it feels like a very different story than being rooted in the universe of the Karate Kid and the Cobra Kai show. This had a different look and a different feel. And then when you finally show LaRusso and his home, it kind of looks out of place for me when I see it. It looks very out of place considering the way this trailer is. It's almost like trying to fit in a different universe, even though it's not supposed to be the different universe. It does not feel like it's in that storyline at all to me. It really does not. I must be the only one that feels that way, but I watched this.
Well, it kind of is leaning into more of the Jackie Chan Karate Kid universe, it feels like, but like at the same time, because that's where Daniel feels out of place here to me.
He feels very out of place. It feels like I'm watching it. It's like, oh, hey, okay, that's random.
Notice it's also, it says like Jackie Chan, then the new guy, and then it says and Ralph Macchio, meaning it could be that like the first actor of the movie doesn't even have him in it, or maybe he comes in somewhere in the second act. Like the movie will start off more of a Jackie Chan movie, I guess.
I would guess that, but it depends on who is in charge of the movie, producing the movie, because Ralph Macchio is a white man, so he would get bottom billing automatically.
Possible.
Yeah, but I
That's why
mean,
well,
you know what it reminds me of?
And
it reminds
isn't
me of
necessarily bottom billing. When you do and then the person, it is a lot of times that like you brought like a special guest star type of situation. So that's why when I see it, I kind of think it could be a situation where they built it more Jackie Chan, but then they kind of threw him in here, but they're still giving him that kind of and credit to give him some respect. But the one thing I'm happy about is that it's not a continuation featuring Will Smith's son. That's the only silver lining here. I mean, there's
Pretty
a lot
much.
of things. What'd you say?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of negative things that could be said here, but man, if that Smith kid was like the star of this one, that would have been like a really depressing.
I don't know if it's against the rules to wear a house on your head, but I would assume it would not be a good. It would not be proper procedure to walk into the ring with.
He would want to fight as White Batman, right? Like, yeah. Anyhow, Jason Webster says coming soon. Nicolas Cage and Cinema Con Air, rated R. Awesome. Jim Henson is here, and he says with $10, John Wick better be fighting his way out of hell with 2 hellhounds by his side. Who am I kidding? I'd have fun regardless of what happens. Yeah, I haven't seen John Wick 4. Did they actually show his dead body?
No.
Then
they showed you that he fell on the ground, didn't get picked up. They showed his grave site, but they didn't actually show him being put into the ground.
Then he could still be alive. Nelson Sharita sends into and says it could have been worse. High praise indeed. From Price? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's practically sucking the movie's dick. Like, can I get that Karate Kid jizz all over my face, please? Dark King says with 5 Australian, wrong casting for the antagonist in Karate Kid. The plot has an Asian kid getting beaten up in New York, therefore the antagonist should be black. Ooh,
wow.
I see what you did there. All right, well, with that, we are caught up again on Super Chats. Thank you guys for the support. We appreciate that. And that gets us to our next story, actually, here. Should we do the John Wick? Yeah, everybody keeps talking about John Wick, so let's do John Wick first. Fuck it. Keanu Reeves is set for John Wick 5, and they're also going to do a Donnie Yen spinoff and the animated prequel, which we've talked about before. So this is news, evidently. Get ready for some more John Wick. Keanu Reeves is returning for John Wick 5 as the nunchuck-wielding hitman, Lionsgate announced at CinemaCon on Tuesday morning. Meanwhile, the action franchise is expanding with an animated prequel film as well as Kane-centric standalone adventure from director-star Donnie Yen. These projects are complementary to the upcoming Ana de Armas-led Ballerina, which opens in theaters on June 6th. De Armas stopped at the annual convention for movie theater owners, which is currently unfolding in Las Vegas, to showcase an extended look at Ballerina. In the action-packed sequence, her character, Eva Macaro, a ballerina who is training to become an assassin, kicks ass as she faces off against several adversaries in an abandoned bar, shooting one baddie in the face and smashing several plates against another adversary. Yeah, Roger Rabbit did that. Though she performs extensive physical feats in 2021's James Bond sequel, No Time to Die, de Armas said her training for Ballerina was unlike anything she... who gives a shit about all this shit? Reeves will appear in Ballerina. We knew that. The 5th chapter continues a series that began with 2014's John Wick, which earned $86.1 million globally, but it became a sleeper hit on home entertainment. Each film improved upon the last in terms of box office grosses. 2017's Chapter 2 ended its run with $174.3 million, and 3 climbed to $328.3 million, while John Wick Chapter 4 became the highest grossing with $440 million. And that, kids, is why you're getting John Wick 5. Keanu, Chad, Basil, and Erica would not return unless they had something truly phenomenal and fresh to say, or they got paid a bunch. Yeah, so there we go. That's kind of the basics of it. I I don't know. There's more here, but do you guys really care more about this? I mean, really, we all know most of this basic stuff here. So, is anybody surprised that we're getting a John Wick 5 after all
No,
this time?
not at all. I'm actually surprised it took this. The only thing I'm surprised is that it took this long for them to really solidify the deal. That's the part I'm actually surprised. And usually when these types of things happen, when it takes this long, it usually means, like, let's just say one of the lead actors, their career is really hurting. And Keanu Reeves has not really been hurting like since John Wick Chapter 4. He's not done many things. He's done a few things. Obviously, he was Shadow in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. That was easily the most successful of the trilogy. He had a prominent part, and I'm pretty sure he's going to return for the 4th movie as well. Almost positive, almost HIV positive on that. And I don't see why he would be hurting for it. So maybe he just, obviously on top of money, he must really be convinced, okay, this sounds like I'm going to do this. So let's do some more.
I'll tell you what my opinion is, and it's the same thing that I'll also say about Ralph Macchio. At some point, actors, and I think that neither Keanu Reeves nor Ralph Macchio, they're not in their 20s anymore. At some point, the money talks. You know what I mean? There's a certain point where you kind of know you have X amount of years that you're going to be able to maybe still cash in. Maybe you look relatively youthful. Maybe people know you from some franchise and are going to throw $20 million at you. And you're starting to think to yourself, you know what? I'm going to take this check because 10 years from now, nobody's going to be giving me $20 million. I better take it now.
The only thing
I don't blame them. I don't blame them. I'm not angry. You know what I mean? I don't get angry at them.
The only thing I'm concerned about with him doing sequels for Keanu Reeves is, okay, so he's what, late 50s, early 60s, somewhere out there. So he's definitely, he's not someone who's like super jacked. He's in decent shape, but he's not like jacked. Now, his body's clearly not getting any younger. And are we going to be having a case of The Irishman where Keanu Reeves ends up looking younger, but he walks around like he's older? Because if you watch The Irishman, it's like, yeah, they de-age a lot of the actors, but when you watch them walk, you can tell they're 50 years older than they look. And I'm hoping that's not something that happens.
60. He's 60 years old, Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, he ain't De Niro old, but his body's definitely getting closer than it is farther to that. So I just really don't know. I want to make sure, hey, do you got this in you to do this still? You're not Tom Cruise. And that's fine. Not everyone is.
Ralph Macchio is 63. Keanu Reeves is 60. And I'll tell you that in the case of, let's say, Keanu Reeves, and this is my personal opinion, he's not the type of guy that you say, well, maybe at 60, 65, he won't be able to do like 65 any more action movies. Maybe they'll just give him a lot of serious drama roles. But between you and me, that's not really his specialty. Nobody's going to see like a Shakespeare movie thinking, I know somebody's tried in the past to give him more serious roles. But I never really buy them. These are the roles that he's good at. So if I were him, I'd say as long as somebody wants to give me a check and I have a few more years to do this, I'll do it. He is going to do number 5. If they offer him number 6, he'll do number 6.
I'm not surprised. I mean, he'll probably start the movie falling down the stairs still, won't he, from part 4? I mean.
The monster, it is hit video game stage like Jason X, man. It has become a video game. And I'll say, though, it's been a very entertaining video game, and it seems like there's some more polarized opinions on Chapter 4. I really actually enjoyed Chapter 4 despite video game-ness of the movie. And I thought that Donnie Yen was really great in the movie as Kane, and they had an after-credit scene with his character. And clearly his character, they were not finished with that character no matter what, because they were having him do some retaliation at the end, not towards Wick, but towards someone else he had beef with. Mm-hmm. So it's good that, if anything, we needed the Kane thing, because not only was his character great in Chapter 4, but having that scene there to tease us and give us nothing to put out on. I don't like being done dirty like that. So now I feel like we're coming clean.
And I think there's a certain aspect to it that we all, forget, is that the only reason John Wick got off the ground is because his buddy was the director, and he's like, I got this idea, will you star in it? He's like, yeah, totally, dude. And it like kicked off a massive franchise. And I don't know if he's going to be directing number 5, but Keanu seems like a very loyal person, and he would put himself through hell for his friends. So I think that has to be factored in.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
They work well together. They do work well. He really does seem like the type of guy who likes the company that he works with. When he has people he likes, he obviously attaches himself to. That's absolutely right. So yeah, hopefully if Chad Stahelski's in, didn't he take over like the show running or be the Kevin Feige of this franchise where he's gonna like oversee everything? Did we report
Chad
on that like
Stahelski
2 years ago?
Yeah.
We did. I remember
like
that
a year
now.
ago. Yeah, roughly.
Yeah, okay. So it was a year ago, but yeah, so he's got some involvement, whether it'll be directing or not. He's definitely gonna be one of the final eyes that sees this movie in hopes that it's up to par.
Well, that's how we knew we were getting that prequel where Keanu was coming back to voice himself, and the prequel is supposed to basically be an animated version of whatever it was that he had to do to get out of the organization or whatever you call it.
Mm-hmm.
So his task that they always talk about. But we'll have to see how that rolls. We got Nicholas Horton. It says, "Hail, Tom and Panelist. I heard the Spider-Man title is taken from the title of a terrible comic run. Plus, is that Narnia real news or an April Fool's?" I as far as I know, it's just a rumor for now. If you're talking about what's her face doing the voice of the lion or whatever, which yeah, I would just assume it's a rumor for now until we hear anything official. And what would really be stupid is if they would forget that female lions don't have manes. But anyway, yeah, the Spider-Man thing, that's our next topic here. And I know, Nick, you lost your ever-loving mind when you heard this. Spider-Man has a new title in Brand New Day.
Marvel has been very notorious for the last, several years. And this, honestly, to be fair, this predates even Phase 4, where some things are in name only, and that there's a for better and worse. And even if this movie ends up being the title Brand New Day in name only, it's still an absolute slap in the face to fans who were invested in this comic, whether for 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, because Brand New Day is based off a title that was and still is the most controversial Spider-Man storyline of all time. Basically, what happens is during the original Civil War comic, when Spider-Man outed himself for his secret identity being public, when he outed himself, he was supposed to be under protection, and obviously that didn't work out, and the Kingpin used that to his advantage, and then, of course, Kingpin got the Aunt May, then he mollywopped the shit out of Kingpin for getting the Aunt May, and he realized he was not getting by in his life, without, having this public identity. So he did the equivalent of a deal with the devil. So in the Marvel Universe, there's a character named Mephisto. He's like their Satan. And he made a deal with Mephisto to break up his marriage with Mary Jane Watson. They had been married in the comics for 15, maybe somewhere between like 13 and 20 years at this point. And they broke up their marriage so that Aunt May doesn't die because she was dying. And he gave up
called One More Day, not Brand New Day, though?
It was One More Day that led into Brand New Day. And Brand New Day, yes, it was called One More Day. And then once he does basically sell his soul to the devil, it basically it puts the genie back in the bottle. His life starts anew. There's happy, still 90, still barely hanging Aunt May for the 90th time. But there's also Mary Jane's relationship. They broke off, and they have outside of one writer, they have not been together since. One writer actually brought them back together, and it seemed like that writer was also going to undo One More Day, Brand New Day. And then as soon as it seemed like he was hinting at it, he got taken off the book. And then the next writer came in and undid all of that. So it's clear that the people at this company don't want Spider-Man with Mary Jane. And yeah, it was a very polarizing event because a lot of people who were invested in this comic for 10, 20, 30 years are basically being told, hey, everything you invested in was for nothing. And you can ask Gary too. He was working at a comic shop when this storyline was a thing going on. Now, I remember the shop I was shopping at the time, the readership who were reading Amazing Spider-Man in a monthly pull list chopped in over half the numbers. And Gary, when I asked him about, hey, how much sales did you lose from that book after it happened, he said at least half. So that book has not recovered sales wise since the One More Day, Brand New Day extravaganza. So this title, when people see this title, they just get basically nothing but the worst fears because of what that title did to Spider-Man comics, what it did to continuity, what it did to Peter and MJ's marriage. And it seems like now there's this rule now that we cannot have Peter and Mary Jane be married ever again. So yeah, it's a title that has a lot of stigma for fans who were invested for a long time. And I look at a title and I get very uneasy because I was there when that event was going down, and I have very not fond feelings about it.
All right. Well, anybody else got any feelings on the title? I mean, to me, it doesn't mean a whole lot. I never read the comic, but
I didn't read the comic, and for me, less than the title, more important is what the movie does. If this is the title, and then I go and the movie is great, then great. But if I go and the movie is crap, then it's crap. And the title is not really gonna change my sentiment one way or another for now. It really matters because they've sometimes used one title that belonged to one comic and pasted it on something else. So I'm not really taking that seriously, even if it's an unpopular comic. It just matters to me if they're going to make something that's like shitty or good. And honestly, aside from maybe the gimmick of the 3 Spider-Men in what was it, No Way Home? What I forget the names of those movies, but there's Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. So aside from the No Way Home one that had the 3 Spider-Men, which is like, I did enjoy seeing that, even though it was a lot of nostalgia bait. Those early movies, those first 2 movies with Tom Holland, I didn't think they were that great. I know that a lot of people like kissing his ass all day in those movies, but for me, I just think that they're just all right. I don't love him. I don't even love him as Spider-Man, honestly. There could be, like you were saying earlier, there probably could be worse candidates to play Spider-Man, but I don't love Tom Holland and I don't love his movies. And I hope that this new one isn't shit.
Yeah, and the whole thing is they have any direction they want to take this next movie in, they have it, because the way that No Way Home ended, it literally cleaned the entire slate. You gave them that awesome homemade Spider-Man outfit,
outstanding,
and he's in an apartment like we all attribute Peter Parker to being in, kind of down on his luck, probably eating grilled cheese and tomato soup every day, and drinking Kool-Aid, like just trying to get back on his feet and just trying to balance both those lives. So they have no excuse to make a bad movie, because the way they ended it, I think, really well. The suit was great. The sentiment of we're going to make him actual Peter Parker starting from the beginning is great, but I don't have confidence that they're going to do that. I think they're going to pull people back in after they set this up. Like that's what Marvel loves to do, is like they or even Sony, like they're going to set it up. They did it with Venom. They did it with all these other movies where it's like, oh man, that's a great setup for the next movie. Then they're like, man, whatever, So
Venom, they had the whole thing of him being in the multiverse.
That's what I was referring to. Yeah,
and they completely wiped their ass with that within the first like 5 minutes of Venom 3. That was the worst. I mean, it's not that I especially like the multiverse, but come on, you set up this whole crap and you didn't do anything with it, just like you said, Mo.
That's exactly the scene I was referring to. And it's just like but they've done so well. And yeah, I agree with you, Price. The first 2 movies weren't that great, but they're great popcorn movies. Like I didn't feel like I got ripped off. Like the second one was like, the first one I enjoyed quite a bit. Mainly because of Vulture. Vulture was such a damn good villain.
I mean,
he carried that one on his back. But
Michael Keaton, he was
he was great.
Okay, Michael Keaton was good. That was probably the highlight of that first one. But honestly, that whole kind of 16 Candles, John Hughes, whatever the fuck they were doing there, I didn't like any of it. And I don't know why. Like everybody said it was so great. I didn't mind him in Civil War, but then when I saw that Homecoming movie, everybody's like, he's so great, he's so fantastic, he's so great. And I sat there and I thought to myself, they kind of took away something that I liked. When I look at the Toby movies, there's something about those movies that it has heart. You could criticize them today, maybe they're dated or whatever, but they have heart. And I didn't feel that Homecoming it felt just a bit too slick for me. Even with the involvement of like Tony Stark and all the thing, something about it just annoyed me. It wasn't, again, I didn't hate it. I didn't walk out and saying this is the worst movie I've ever seen, but I wasn't super excited.
Yeah, and the best parts of that movie were when people were vulnerable, like Vulture. You know,
right.
He's like, you know, like they're like, well, I guess you're just gonna have to start another business, or whatever he said. And then you have the best scene in the movie, in my estimation, is where Michael Keaton finds out that Tom Holland is Spider-Man, and they're in that car looking at each other.
That was a great conversation.
I've been on dates where I feel like I'm Spider-Man and the dad's Vulture.
Yeah, I liked Homecoming. It was Far From Home is the one I didn't care for, but yeah, I my issue was everybody's like, oh, he's Iron Spider and he got the costume. It was like, I mean, Homecoming was all about him not having the costume and having it taken away.
That's true. That's a part that a lot of people seem to really go out of their way to ignore.
Far From Home, on the other hand, though, I agree. Like, that whole movie is just one long fucking funeral for Tony Stark.
Yep.
And then the ending sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people liked Mysterio or whatever, but he was all right.
I liked Mysterio movie as a whole, not so much. I did like seeing the illusions. Now his arc, and I liked his power set. I thought his power set was done really well. But as far as his character arc was, could have been definitely done better, way better. I'll buy a lot.
Wasn't
it was overall an extensive funeral for Iron Man, so that did not need to be a thing. I enjoyed No Way Home, and like many, I was like, okay, let's see how much of this will be only good because of Toby and Andrew, and it was good, having them in it. But honestly, to me, it was the movie where I actually felt like Holland actually finally became Spider-Man proper. And that I actually really enjoyed his arc because it finally felt like he was finally being Spider-Man and not someone else's hero. It felt like he was finally being his own hero. And it kind of really recontextualized the entire trilogy of those movies that he was basically becoming a superhero along the way. And this was him finally becoming his own man and going out into the world. And that's why I thought that ending was so perfect because we're finally him seeing go on and be that independent kid, live in the overly expensive dump of a New York City apartment, homemade suit, and the suit looked outstanding. Absolutely loved it. And it was a great way to also have him have a fresh start without rebooting things that had been done. So it was like, I guess we'll use the term soft reboot. So I felt like they had set his character up for a great success. And now it seems like we're just going to derail all that success. And there is a possibility, as I said, this could be Brand New Day in name only. And here's why I still think there's a possibility of that, because they already said he's not going to be in that Doomsday movie. And when I hear that he's not going to be in that Doomsday movie, this movie's going to be sandwiched in between. So is this going to be like a movie that takes place before Doomsday? Or is this going to be a movie that takes place during Doomsday and then it's an MCU movie that has the Spider-Man title and then that leads right into Secret Wars?
The synopsis I saw, I don't know if it's official or not, said it's in the wake of Doomsday. So,
great. So it's a Marvel movie, not a Spider-Man movie. If that's the case.
Which also is teasing us to make me believe that he's going to show up in Doomsday. Oh, we lost Mo.
He'll be back. He says streamers messed up on him.
Streamers messed up.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what you guys are saying out there. Lion Main Man, how you doing? It says, while Marvel is filming Spider-Man Brand New Day, I hope they don't CGI everything and do practical effects. Well, we'll have to see how that turns out. Jay sends in 10 and says, in my mind, Spider-Man trying to win over MJ and caretaking for his elderly aunt is an important part of his character, just like Uncle Ben's death, concluding those ends Spider-Man completely.
I understand that part, but I disagree with the Aunt May part because we have seen her be saved 800,001 times, being close, and she had already died in the comics 10, 12 years before that. People do die, and we need to come to grips with that. And I'm probably sound cold and heartless, but Aunt May is like 90. It's okay. It's okay to let go. It really is. And the fact that he made this deal. Now, I would actually, me personally, I can't speak for other fans. I would have been more forgiving of a breakup between Peter and MJ if it was just like a regular divorce, because it does happen in the world, unfortunately. But they did it at the expense of, once again, this deal with the devil. And that to me makes it so much worse. Because, with the divorce, you can maybe have them get back together. Or maybe, hey, it didn't work out. We had a long run. Maybe we grew apart. Things like that. Whatever. Okay.
Well,
far better than a deal with the devil.
Say what you will about Into the Spider-Verse. I know people have different opinions on that. The way they did his story arc separating from MJ, that seemed pretty like midlife crisis, made sense to me.
And I think that they did that girl,
right, but
I think this girl they brought in is going to be the real Mary Jane. Because even though I think Zendaya is supposed to be in this, remember, he's going into this world where nobody knows who he is anymore. Nobody knows who Peter Parker is anymore. So, that's why we had that scene at the end where Zendaya doesn't even know who the fuck he is anymore and shit like that. And, but Mo, I didn't know if you had more to say there, Mo. I'm sorry.
No, that was really it. Unfortunately, StreamYards was being StreamYards and totally cut the feed. Yeah, that's always nice when that happens. But no, they have no reason to screw this movie up from the reasons I said and what everybody else has said. It's like they literally have set themselves up to do whatever they would like to in the next movie. But I just feel they're going to do like they did with Venom 3. With all the other movies, I think there's going to be too many cooks in the kitchen, and they're going to make a piece of crap, which is usually the fate that's befallen on a fourth sequel. So, not high hopes, but I hope they do well.
Yeah, not every movie can be Police Academy 4.
It's true.
Goddess of Whim sends in $5. Thank you, Goddess. Says, my big problem with breaking up Pete and MJ in the comics is why are Reed and Sue allowed to be happily married with kids? I'd like a proper answer. This was one of those things. I know it took everybody, or like it really upset everybody when they did break them up in the comics. And I always thought it was pretty stupid too. Because I mean, like, they're one of the more well-known couples in comicdom, or whatever you want to call it, to where it's just like, yeah, it just makes no sense. So yeah, I never read the comics though, but I've heard a lot of people talk about it. So SFX F314 Sabretooth Raptor sends in 10 and says, duck season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, duck season. That's it. I've done it. I got bugs for first time and said, Daffy, I'm sorry to burst your fantasy, Daffy. It's April Fool's Day. No. Yeah. Did I do that one right? Probably not. Probably went off the rails. I got bugs.
You're despicable.
You're despicable. Yes. Yeah. What's up, Doc? Shit. We got another Spider-Man story here. Finally, they're getting to Spider-Verse. And it is the end of the trilogy. They're not going to make any more. So I'm not surprised there. And the damn thing ain't even coming out until June of 2027.
I've really lost interest already. Like it's been such a long time. I never
had any interest to begin with, but yeah.
No, it's not that I had a ton of interest to begin with. The first one, like, for whatever it was all right. The second one, I think people were more excited about it than I was, but I didn't completely hate it. But man, they needed to release that third one very quickly. Like, it's not that it's not that great that you can release a sequel after like 4 or 5 years. Like, nobody gives a shit about that stupid thing.
I hated the first one. Like,
at least I don't give a shit. And I think that it's probably not going to do as well as they think, because all the time that goes by, I think, is not going to do.
Dude, it's going to do well. Let's be real here. I may hate.
So?
Oh yeah, this is going to do well. I have no personal interest in this movie. I'm really not going to see this movie, but I have the feeling, at the very least, this is going to at least make $500 million. Yeah, remember, granted, this is far away from right now to 2027. By the time this comes out, that's still a year shorter gap than 1 to 2 was.
Well, what's funny is they must have just finally started getting to work on it, because I guess they did show a little teaser trailer, and I don't know how much of it was actually new footage or not, because it sounds like it began with the ending of the last film where he's like, I'm going to do my own thing, So, yeah, I just wanted to share this news because it is news. And I thought it was kind of funny that they hadn't announced it yet. But then when them rumors were going around about Sony making a deal with Disney to sell the rights back for Spider-Man, I was one of the few people who said, yeah, I can see that. And I can see why it would be beneficial to both parties, especially if Sony got like out of the deal, like the next 2 or 3 Spider-Verse movies they get a piece of. Because frankly, I can see Tom Rothman dragging his feet on these for only one reason and one reason only. And that is that they don't really make anything off them. because they don't get any of the merchandise. They get a piece of the Spider-Man MCU merchandise as part of the deal, but they do not get any of the Spider-Verse merchandise. So all those toys that you see, that goes straight into Marvel's pockets. In fact, there was a story I think Forbes did when the first or second film came out about how these movies are basically just a big commercial for Marvel toys, and how Disney basically and Marvel benefit more from this deal than anybody else. And I'm sure Rothman's going, well, this is bullshit. They made $1 billion on the toys and we barely brought home $100 million in profit, which is probably only the last film because the first movie didn't really make any money. So, but no, Nick is right. They are popular with the kids. The kids love these films. They buy the toys. There's a ton of them. I'm not surprised that they're making another one. I just thought they were holding off because I thought maybe and the reason I brought up the sale thing is I thought that they would just be like, well, why the fuck should we animate these movies? Why don't we just wait and have Disney do it? And then we just make a little bit of money on the side, and make a deal with it that way. But I don't know. I guess they're going forward with it. So we'll see. And it is the last one in the trilogy. They even say that in this article. It was part of the announcement.
Until the reboot.
Well, no, that just kind of, it doesn't confirm what I'm thinking, but it tells me that they just could, if there was any deal making going on, that's probably what drug this thing out so long. Because like I said the same thing. You made the second film fully intending to be with a sequel, right? It ends with a cliffhanger. How did you not just make them at the same time, like directly go into production of part 3 after part 2?
That's what they should have done.
Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense to me unless there was something that log jammed it or got in the way. And my explanation there is the only thing that makes sense to me is that they were kind of like, because Tom Rothman hates these kind of movies. He doesn't get superheroes. He even has admitted it over and over again, and he can't wait till this shit's over with. And when I heard the news that he killed the Spider-Verse stuff with like the Venom films and all that kind of stuff before Craven even came out, I believe it, because that's exactly what he'd do. So we'll see how good this is. It's the last one. We got a couple more super chats in the meantime. Nelson Sharita sends in 5 and says, the moral, brand new day. It's better to make a deal with the devil than accept an elderly parent figure dying. Real horrible morality. Yeah, and I'm sure Aunt May would have rather he not made that deal. SFX3F314 Sabretooth Raptor says, no longer care about Marvel. Marvel is smuffed as it is rapidly becoming an irrelevant IP. I think he means snuffed, but he probably wouldn't let him write it. Or smurfed, one of the two. They both work because Smurf is whatever you want it to be. Now, this is a weird fucking story. I thought it was April Fool's. So I had 6 check into it, and evidently it is not an April Fool. So Leonardo DiCaprio is in talks to join Brad Pitt in David Fincher's Once Upon a Time Hollywood sequel for Netflix. Written by Quentin Tarantino, directed by David Fincher.
Wow.
This sounds weird and unnecessary.
Doesn't it seem like a weird fucking April Fool's joke?
Why would Tarantino
want to do
a sequel? This doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh, I think he already has a bunch of shit planned with that part. Doesn't surprise me. What surprises me is he's letting Fincher do it. Because he already has supposedly a bunch of episodes of Bounty Law that he's supposed to do as like a special for Netflix, where he's going to actually do the full episodes, because they have like big chunk of episodes in the movie. So like he got like this idea that he wants to shoot, like he has like 6 scripts of Bounty Law that he wants to shoot. And then Brad Pitt's character was also supposed to be in The Critic, the movie that he decided not to make. So I'm not surprised about that part. But what's weird is why what the fuck? David Fincher's directing
I think I know why. Quentin Tarantino keeps saying something that he'll only direct 10 movies.
Yeah.
So I think that he doesn't want to do this one, but he wants to see one made, and maybe he genuinely thinks that David Fincher is a decent director, and David Fincher has the relationship with Netflix too. So maybe they pitched it to him. Maybe they said, "Oh, what do you think about David Fincher?" And he's like, "Yeah, I like that guy." And maybe they somehow work this thing out.
Yeah,
if it's not an April Fool's joke,
have a relationship with Netflix, and that's why I do actually buy into it. And I guess Schneider came out and doubled down and said, no, this is not an April Fool's joke, because everybody kept saying it's got to be an April Fool's joke.
I'm not a fan of his. He kind of annoys me, but yeah, he does have some knowledge sometimes, but sometimes he just annoys me.
No, and yeah, no, I totally agree with you on
Most
that.
of the time, he annoys me. But yes, the guy that annoys me more is that John Rocca guy. That guy's like is even more annoying. But this guy annoys me too.
Yeah, I don't know if Nick or you have a comment on this, Mo, but
I got nothing here.
Yeah, I don't. It seems unnecessary. There's not many. There's no Tarantino movies that really just need a sequel. They kind of are made to be these wonderful, crazy epics. Like,
you know what's
what?
weird is when I did my review for Once Upon a Time, I said I wish that this was like a TV series because I just wanted to stay in that world. I wanted to just continue. I just wanted it to continue. Like when it was over, I'm like, no, I just wanted to keep going. I want to stay and keep going with these characters. Like I fell in love with the world, the characters, the tone, everything about it. It's slowly becoming one of my favorite Tarantino films. And I know you're new to the panel, but like everybody knows here, I'm like a big Tarantino freak. So like for me, this was like, interesting. And I'm sure that's why Six brought it to my attention. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of I'm like beside myself on this. It's like, but Fincher directing, I don't know. But I mean, if he sticks to Tarantino's script, I don't know. It's weird. It is weird. I mean, but none of his movies really scream out for a sequel except for Kill Bill, really.
No,
I think about it.
Yeah, Kill Bill. Oh, yeah, and that was perfectly made that way by design.
Yeah, I don't get it. I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't like Kill Bill 1 was made and it had a complete story. And like, oh, let's just make a sequel called Kill Bill 2. Like, no, it was, and Quentin Tarantino had been upfront about this is 2 films because there's a lot of story here. And was it like a year between the two, or was it 6 months? It was 6 months.
Well, they were shot as one movie.
Yeah, but as far as the theatrical release,
Weinstein said he was only going to let him release a 2-hour and 40-minute version of the movie, and they got into it. And he's like, well, what if we release it as 2 films? I can't remember who said, if it was Weinstein or Tarantino that came up with releasing it as 2 films, but at that moment it was like, oh, that's brilliant. But as you see the movie now, it almost feels like it always was 2 films, like you're saying, because you have the first half, which is all like, samurai, anime, type inspiration and kung fu films, and then the last half is clearly a Sergio Leone film. Like,
agreed.
Or I mean, not Sergio Leone. Yeah.
No, I agree.
I knew what I meant. Yeah. So like, yeah, I don't know, but this movie, the first one, or the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I thought was great. And I mean, you're not wrong, Mo. I mean, it has a story. It begins, middle, and ends. To it. I don't know. It's just weird. I mean, I wonder if it's going to go along with the Bounty Law series he's talked about doing. And we were supposed to get that extended cut of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood on Netflix as well. So I wonder if it's all tied into that. Because if anybody I don't know if you know, they did an extended cut of Hateful Eight for Netflix, where it was cut up into 4 parts. And now I don't care for the theatrical cut. I like the extended cut. Yeah, David, I have those comic books actually. I haven't read them yet. Tarantino co-wrote or whatever a comic book of Django meets Zorro. Like
what?
4-part miniseries. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's not even a April Fool's joke.
I'm still like weirded out that it's not. It just when I hear everything about it, it just sounds like a really thought out April Fool's joke.
Well, compared to most nerds, I don't have that many comics. I mean, I have a few, and this is one of the series I do actually have.
Django and Zorro. Oh, Matt Wagner's involved? Well, if Matt Wagner's involved, it's probably got to be at the very least good. That dude is a talented writer and artist. Wagner's fantastic. And that cover looks like it was made by Jay Lee, though. It looks like a very Jay Lee looking cover. Could be wrong, though. Maybe it's a style inspired by Jay Lee, but man, does it reek of the J.
That looks like that would be fun. How long was the run? Like,
I think it's only it's seven issues.
7 issues. Yeah.
Nice.
Makes sense.
All 7.
Dynamite was notorious for putting out licensed space-ish comics, and that's kind of been their outside of a few like original stories. Dynamite heavily relies on established IPs to get by.
I got to check and see if I got all 7. I think I might only have 4 of them.
Oh.
I hate to say it, I'm more interested in Zorro. My dad made me
Well.
watch all the 50s TV shows.
Oh, nice.
And obviously I
Andre's
fell
one
in
that
love with
actually
the
told me
Antonio
about it.
Banderas. Yeah. So.
Because of Zorro.
Mm-hmm.
For the Antonio Banderas Zorro, you're saying? Mo?
Oh yeah, I love that movie. Yeah, that was really good. It was all good, and the gosh darn guy that never got the respect he deserved for being that villain. He was in Lethal Weapon 3, and he was in No Escape, one of my favorite cheesy '90s movies ever. Dude, I can't remember his name. John Merritt. I can't remember his name, but he's a good villain actor for there in the early '90s, and I thought he did a great job as the head of the province or whatever it was, the evil one that stole Catherine Zeta-Jones when she was a baby. I don't know.
I'm trying to even remember who the fuck the bad guy was in Lethal Weapon 3 now.
That's what it was. The same guy. He was a really good villain there for about 2 or 3 years in the '90s. I can't remember his name. I'll have to look it up.
I gotta rewatch Lethal Weapon 3. I haven't watched it in a long time. Same with 4, and 4 has Jet Li in it.
I liked 4. It was.
I liked 4 too.
Is it Stuart Wilson who you're talking about?
I believe so.
Yep.
Let me.
That's what it looks like. Yep.
Stuart Wilson. Yeah, dude. Like he was.
He was
great.
also in. No Escape. You said. Yep.
Dude, I love No Escape. I used to watch that in a loop with Ray Liotta and Lance Henriksen. It was like. It was such a crazy movie, but I really enjoyed it. It seemed to make sense to me. I thought it was a great movie.
All right. Well, thank you, Six, for cluing me into that story. And with that, I've pretty much exhausted all the stories I had, unless anybody else had anything else to discuss. I mean, I know there was a bunch of CinemaCon announcements, but I mean, it's like stuff like Nobody 2. You know,
I can't wait for Nobody 2, actually. I'm looking forward to that. That's something I actually wanted a sequel to.
Are they doing a sequel though? Bob Odenkirk had
it's been filmed and everything. It comes up this August.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right, I'm actually stoked about
but
that.
He had health issues, so I hope he's all right and he was able to do it. But if it's already filmed, then probably yeah.
Give me that movie now. No, for real though. I want Nobody 2 to come out. That I really enjoyed that first one. I love.
Here's some beefaroni. I think Nick
on tonight's episode of Easy $10 Dinners.
Oh,
that my kids didn't throw.
Oh, that's some beefaroni.
Oh,
there.
Christ, you gotta make me some of that. You gotta come to Chirac and then give me some beefaroni.
I thought it was
a
goulash.
beefaroni date.
It is technically goulash.
Oh, goulash? Oh, yeah. Your wife's goulash. Oh, it's too much salt.
But it's basically the same thing as what beefaroni is. It's an ongoing joke because Price, for some reason, thought that Nick would eat beefaroni, and Nick's like, no, I think that shit's nasty.
Yeah, I don't know how we even got to beefaroni.
How did we get to beefaroni? How?
Because it just sounds like a word that Nick would say.
It does. Right. I would say it does.
Just in general, be like, that's beefaroni, man.
You know what that is? That's my childhood. That's the stuff you ate. So when your dad threw you out in the driveway to go shovel a foot of snow, you had enough energy. That's what that reminds me of. It's like, all right.
You know what's sad though is actually food when we were kids, though, Mo. That's the difference. Now it's barely even food. It's just chemicals and.
We probably had better food growing up, right?
Oh God, yes, we did. Yeah, no, SpaghettiOs don't even taste the same. And I even remember that regular SpaghettiOs used to come in cheese tomato sauce, and the meatball ones were the ones that came in the regular tomato sauce. Now they just put, that's why I said they don't taste the same as when we were kids.
I love ravioli because somehow the beef inside the ravioli was hermetically sealed from the rest of the stew. Somehow,
that, like pasty shit.
It absorbed none of the flavor from the rest of everything that was in there. It was just meat. Like it didn't have any of the tomato flavor or anything. But man, I love that.
Yeah. Oh, we got a couple more super chats. Coming soon from Jason Webster. Smurf Avengers thrill as the Smurf Avengers led by Iron Smurf as they face their smurfiest, most fearsome smurfiest nemesis yet, Gargamel. You better smurf it. Kalekioki says with $2, thoughts on latest super thoughts? Oh wow, there's thoughts in Superman. Wow. Test. Okay, well, there's been mostly positive reactions from what we've been hearing. There's also that crazy rumor that either, I don't know which one to believe, Tom Cruise or Bradley Cooper plays Jor-El.
I've heard it's almost
heard about
confirmed
that.
as Bradley Cooper.
I mean, both
heard
make
that they
sense for various reasons. Yeah, that's the
Mhm.
problem.
I heard they made there was a surprise public screening or something like that. I don't know. It sounds all very in the ether, but
Right, take it with a grain of salt.
I know there was a
Maybe
test
true,
screening. I
may
don't know
not
about
be.
a public screening, but yeah.
And
Yeah,
people said that
it's
the
been
test screening
confirmed
was
as
good.
Bradley Cooper. Is it confirmed as Bradley Cooper? Okay.
Yeah, but was the test screening? You're saying people said it was good?
Mostly positive
Yeah,
is what I've
I heard that too. That apparently now it's starting to get some really good test screenings. Man,
I've heard the
imagine-
word Fantastic Four is fucked was what was said at the end of the screening.
Yeah, and it's not like the Guardians of the Galaxy type humor or anything like that, is what everybody was saying.
I heard that too. Which, if that's the case, that's good because that does not fit Superman at all.
Everybody same kind of thing as before. They said it's more in tone with like Wonder Woman, which I think they mean more in tone with the Donner Superman.
Yes,
Because that's what everybody remember when Wonder Woman came out. Everybody's like, "Oh, this feels like Donner Superman almost in tone." It's like, yeah. Well, that's the thing is these critics and kids nowadays and people that are at these test screenings have probably never even seen Donner Superman.
That makes me so sad.
Gosh,
yeah, because Donner Superman was like whether it's Clark Kent or it was Superman, he was wholesome. He told the truth, and he would always say, flying it's the safest way to travel.
I never tell a lie, Lois.
Never tell a lie.
That's advice that Superman 78 could have given to the not Superman movie of 2013. Complete opposite.
Moper Man?
Yeah, Man of Murder.
Man of Murder. I don't care that he killed Zod. He just waited so fucking long. Like, what the hell, dude?
Superman doesn't kill. Superman
like,
doesn't
how many thousands
kill.
of people had to die before he's finally like, all right, I'm going to bust this dude's neck?
I know someone's going to try to throw the John Byrne run at me. Don't. What he did was horrifically wrong as un-Superman as it got.
Yeah, I just remember in Batman versus Superman when he's like, the news reporter's like, apparently everybody's left the city in 10 minutes because that's totally normal. Like they had to.
Yeah, it takes them a whole day. Dude, I've lived in Chirac. It takes an hour to get to Chirac from Chirac.
I've seen enough Godzilla movies to know it. You never get everybody out of town by the time Godzilla gets there. It just never fucking happens.
You can't get from exit one. Sorry, go ahead.
No, finish. You go ahead.
I was going to say with Nick, why I've been to Chicago many times. You can't get from exit 1A to exit 1E in the time it takes that they got everybody out of the city in Metropolis.
And not just one person trying to move. Well, imagine taking a town filled with millions and think they're all just going to get out of there just fine. Bullshit.
That line was only there because we all griped about that. Not all of us, but some of us, like myself, griped about that in Man of Steel. I'm like, how the fuck? Like, first of all, Superman wouldn't let one person die, let alone tens of thousands. Which is
Superman.
Basically what we find out is what died in that fight. It's like, are you kidding me? That's like 9/11. What the fuck? Right? Like, why would Superman would not allow that shit to happen? And that's why, and it makes sense, in Superman 2, he takes the fight out of the fucking city. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody's like, oh, he's running. No, he's not running. He's taking the fight out of the city because he's worried about the people.
Yeah,
even Zod and Ursa figure that out.
But he takes it to like the industrial park. He doesn't even take it out of the city. You can still see everything in the background.
Well, I mean, he finally takes it to the Fortress of Solitude and just gets out of there. Because they're like, oh, he's running, and he's like, she's like, he cares. He actually cares for these people. And then Zod's like, I like pets, I suppose.
Oh, the original, yes. Which, by the way, Donner cut. Amazing.
Oh God, yes. Shit. Anyhow, we'll see how good the Superman is. I got high hopes, but I know it's high bar right now with everything going on. So we'll see. But I don't think there's been any public screenings yet, or we'd actually get more leaks. I think there was just test screening from what I read. But who knows what they'll show at CinemaCon this weekend. They may get to see something. So
they'll probably get a new trailer for Superman or the Fantastic Four with Pedro Pascal in it.
Mm-hmm. I just hope Superman's good. He's always been my favorite, probably because of the Donner film. Yeah.
So yeah, no. Adding to your point, Mo. Yeah, I mean he's one of my favorite characters of all time, and I am relieved and still take it with a pinch of salt because just because it confirms like the skepticism I have of the humor. It's like okay, assuming that that's true, that's great. So that's one problem out of the way. Now we still have a whole other problem out of the way. Is this a Superman movie or Superman and Friends movie? Because we've obviously have heard things saying that it's still going to be a Superman movie, but when you look at the footage, you can't help but feel like what we're seeing versus what we're told are two different things. Because I do not need this movie to be a team movie. This needs to be a Superman movie. I mean, come on. When we had the first Iron Man movie, it was Iron Man's story with just Iron Man in there. Sure, he saw Thunderbolt Ross in the after? No, that was in the Incredible Hulk. I was gonna say the after credits, but never mind. That was Incredible Hulk. But it was a self-contained story. We were trying to make sure this franchise could grow. Go from being a baby that could walk, move, be effective, be independent, and then we can start getting everything else. But it's like they are trying to throw everything at this movie, and they want this movie to sprint before everything else. And that's not something you should be doing, especially with Superman. Superman already has a bit of a tainted legacy with the last several movies. And then you take in the DC company and all the movies that they've been doing. You're just, once again, putting more gas on a fire. Let Superman breathe already. Not everything needs to have several characters. There was a time in my life when I used to look forward to those types of team-ups. But now, because they make everything about team up, now I dread the team ups because they feel like it's like this thing that they have to do because of their stupid rules and regulations and mandates and all that shit. I know Warner Bros. Doesn't like to hear it, but you need to be a Superman movie about Superman for established and potential Superman fans.
Yep. And I will only allow them to have a bunch of people, a bunch of superheroes, if they bring back the guy from Super Friends, and every time they switch to another scene, they go, meanwhile, I'll allow it.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
I love that.
That was Ted Knight, actually.
Yeah.
Was it really? Oh, Billy
Yeah.
Baru. Oh, Billy. Yeah,
Billy.
no, but these were the three influences I had, and thanks to Big Mo, who's in the sky now, but he got me hooked on Zorro, which has nothing to do with Superman, but he got me hooked on George Reeves' Superman, which he loved to death.
So good.
And he introduced me to the Max Fleischer cartoon, which is
nice. Good cartoon, dude.
And then I saw Donner. I saw the first Donner movie, and then I saw the rest. And I'm like, when you have Donner Superman and you have Fleischer cartoons and you have George Reeves, it's like it's a high bar, but it should be met because it's that good of a superhero.
That's the Holy Trinity right there.
Absolutely. And
you could probably make a runner-up for Superman the animated series, and I would give it the runner-up outside, like kind of like the fourth place. But those three really are the Holy Trinity of Superman adaptations. And of course, I'd give it maybe if one thing competes with it for the fourth spot, maybe Lois and Clark as well. I never watched Superman and Lois. I heard that it was good, so I'm not gonna knock on it. I did hear that it was good. I did want to see one scene from it. And that one scene, though, was really good. It was that scene where you saw he had the original Superman emblem when it was black around the S. And they asked him about the suit. Yeah. And they said, oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah. My mother made it for me. And I thought that was a really cool scene. I'm like, wow, that's actually on the CW? Wow.
Yeah. Here's the best part. I didn't even catch this at first. Somebody had to, like my wife had to explain to me, which is, hey, I'll kick my coverage. I got a nerd for a wife. She's like, well, he caught a green PT Cruiser, which is a Chrysler, which is the same car. Yeah, well, yeah. No, man, they're pieces of junk. But he got a green Chrysler was in the original Superman comic. So I was like, oh man, that attention to detail I love. There's only so far you can go with it before people are like, tell us a good story. But with those three influences, it's just like you're not. Oh man, it's just. I don't know. Maybe I'm holding the bar too high, but that's
no. You're 100% right, Mo.
You should.
I've never really heard anybody put it that way before, but it's true. You're 100% right. I mean, they are the gold standards. Each one that you just named were the gold standard that each one was built upon afterwards. Like the Fleischer cartoons, like people don't realize how expensive those were back in the day and how big of a deal they were. Because for those who don't know, Fleischer didn't want to make them. Because DC came to him and they're like, we want you to do these cartoons for us. And they're like, no. And Paramount's like, well, you can get, how much do you need? And they're like, they said some astronomical amount at the time. I don't remember how much it was, but I think it was like something like the equivalent of like $10 million a short. Now today's money, something like that is from my memory. And like, they're like, okay. Like, fuck, now we got to do it.
But
so that's why they look so good, is they had all the money in the world. And that, of course, inspired so much afterwards up through, Batman the Animated Series and everything like that. And then the same thing with George Reeves' show. That was kind of the gold standard as far as, superheroes on television going forward. And the Donner film was the blueprint for how to do a superhero movie, Mo. So yeah, that's a great point. It is a high bar that's set, but it should be, you should try to strive to hit that bar.
Yeah. It's one thing when you try, you don't hit it, but at least you're trying to aim high, and that means you want to go for the best. You want to be up there with the best of the best. You don't want to settle for being with the lower stuff. That makes no sense. Like, you want to put out the best thing possible, because the better it possibly is, the better your chances are hopefully reaching out to people and getting them to tell their friends, their family about it, and hopefully starting that whole chain reaction. That's why I don't do the whole like, well, at least this is not as bad as this. I don't talk like that, because that to me is settling for scraps, and I am not going to conform to that.
Nope. And I doubt a lot of these people have seen the Fleischer cartoons. A lot of people haven't.
Dude, that animation style is still amazing.
It's amazing, and it was of its time, but that's why it's so amazing, because it's of the 30s and early 40s.
Yeah,
I'm sure they started in the 30s because it was rotoscoping a lot of it. So, but it's just simply amazing. It just total fantasy as far as like it was total escapism. All three of those movies, the two movies and the TV show, just took you out of life and let you enjoy these movies and TV shows.
Okay, I was a little wrong. It was closer to about $2 to $3 million a short. They had a budget of $100,000 though in 1941 for the shorts. That's insane. Because they didn't want to do it. They just kept going, no. And they're like, well, how much do you need? They just gave them a high ass number. They thought, well, they'll just fuck off. Nope. They dropped the cash, and it's like, fuck.
Thank goodness for those deep wallets.
Yeah. Well, because you guys, I don't even, I was gonna say, I can't remember what like the normal cost for like a Looney Tunes short was. Let's see. Okay, so like for comparison, like those were like around $15,000 or $10,000.
Oh my goodness.
That's what I was saying. Like, it was like they were asked for some astronomical amount, and there's Paramount's like, yeah, here, take all the money, just go do it. Because everybody loved, because Superman was fucking huge. He was huge. Soul Nightmare says the plot is sounding like a week in the life of Superman, the things and people in the worlds he deals with, and the crap Luthor keeps pulling. Yeah, I'm wondering if there's going to be so many buddies showing up after the first like half hour, 45 minutes of the movie. I feel like that's going to be just establishing the world, and then we'll get into the story. I could be wrong, but we'll have to see. Jason Webster says, I'd be Superman if Lois Lane was Sydney Sweeney. Well, she's single again, boys. I don't know if you heard. I Cthulhu sends in 5. It says, 1 hour behind, miss catching you on time, but hysterical that the Karate Kid trailer had no black men in New York City, but played hip-hop music? Trash movie. Yeah, right. Well, thanks, guys. That was fun, and this has been a fun episode, a breezy one, but fun. So, Mo, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, what you got going on, coming up, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, sure. Tomorrow on the channel that I run with a bunch of other people that are part of the fellowship, including Alec Baldwin's Finger and some other names you might have heard. We're on the GCA. That's the group I'm part of. Leighton gave the GCA 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday nights, and then I do the Monday Hangover sometimes with Tom on which is super fun on Mondays 6
what is
p.m.
the next
Eastern.
one?
The next one is The Thing.
Oh, okay.
So I've warned people, because I got people on our Discord that are
So
going to watch
good.
it. I'm like, don't eat before you watch that movie.
Such a good movie.
Yes. Yes, I have seen bits and pieces, and I saw it back in like the night. I have it. This is a great thing about watching these movies. It's been a while. I remember the skeletal structure, but I don't remember the meat of the movie, and I was probably too young to understand it anyway. So I'm looking forward to rewatching it. I love everything John Carpenter does up until the last few. But anyways, so those two, that's what I got going on. And check out my channel on YouTube. I'm going to start streaming on there sometime soon once I figure it out.
Sweet.
But a pleasure being on, sir. It was so much fun talking. But especially about Superman tonight, my superhero. So
no, man, you're welcome anytime, of course. And check out all his stuff. And thank you, Mo, for being here. We appreciate it. Nick, what you got going on? I know you got Toxic Tuesday. You're going to show The One later, which isn't Highlander. So to me, it doesn't count.
Nope, it doesn't count. We'll be talking Jet Li movies for the next few weeks on Toxic Tuesday, and we're kicking off tonight with The One. So I'm excited about it. It's a very underrated Jet Li movie. And of course, tomorrow night, me and Mark D. the C will be talking Daredevil Born Again. I'll have another video later this week. I also did a video recently reviewing A Working Man. So go check that out before Toxic Tuesday. We got about less than an hour before the show starts. And it's 7-minute video. So you got more than enough time to catch that video before we get into the toxicity of madness in Jet Li and martial arts, and basically a movie that's not The Matrix, and also not T2 Judgment Day, and also a movie that's supposed to actually have The Rock in it, but thankfully had Jet Li instead. So yeah, should be fun. Thanks for having me. It's a good show. Come hang out with us, guys. It's gonna be a diabolically huge time. No, that's not the price of reason.
Hey, Price.
Nick, I actually went to your videos, and I think that I commented on them, but you didn't even respond.
I did respond to them. I'll send you the receipts.
Really? Yeah. I guess I didn't get a notification that you responded.
Maybe. No, it's probably just YouTube being gay-tarded.
I've had a lot of weird things happen to me, so yeah. If anybody out there is not subscribed to my channel, or maybe at some point was, and for some reason now isn't, you're welcome to subscribe or resubscribe to either my main channel, which is Price of Reason, or to my live stream channel, which is Price of Reason Live. And tonight at 11:45 p.m., I'm doing the Night Owl with Professor R2, so you guys are invited. 11:45 p.m. Eastern.
All right. And then Jason Webster sends another $2 Australian to say, I would be Batman if 6 was Catwoman. Ooh, there you go. And then ActionCom says, Nick, the power of 1 with the power of 2? Uh-oh.
Oh, the power of baby. I'm so glad I didn't watch that show.
Sesame Timbers.
I know Trump wasn't the only one who dodged a bullet. So did I.
I didn't. I took it right between the eyes. That's still.
Sadie,
I'm still recovering.
Oh, that's enough, Sadie. You can go out in a minute. You can wait 1 minute. 1 minute. No, 1 minute.
Doggos.
Yeah, she don't want to listen. But she's just bitching. All right. Take care, kids, and we will see you next time.